Hey guys, today we are going to continue working on an autonomous mobile robot. This is a representative project, so it's not exactly what many of you are working on, but for example, if you're building chips or other electronics, the workflow you're going to see today maps very directly to what you build. So what we can do is we can click into documents. We can see the documents that are currently available, which in this case are none, and we can click over to Saphira generated documents. And we'll give it a minute to load. But if there are available standards that are relevant, they will show up here. So since it looks like there aren't, let's do a couple different things. Let's click over to standards and let's add 13849 to this project. And then let's upload a document that should cover the basics of what show up in this project. So 13849-1 is a good example. There we go. So we'll save this one and we can go back over and see in Saphira generated documents. Then now we get all the default documents in 13849-1. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. So we're not going to do one of these. We're going to create a new one. And to do that properly, I'm first going to upload another document. We'll call it an SRS. And it's actually going to be something from my downloads, which will be an ESTOP system requirement specification in the context of this particular autonomous mobile robot. So imagine that you're building just the ESTOP, or you're accounting for that one safety function in the document we're about to write. That's what we're going to look at together. So I'll pause while this finishes extracting the metadata, and then we'll try generating this. Okay, there we have it. You can see it did a couple of different things. It embedded this document in the internal embedding space, and it came up with some overview, the family that it applies to, and more. And we go in here and we can create a new document. So we're going to create as the document that we want to consider the information for use for this project. And I'm going to paste in a whole bunch of stuff. So this is just a copy paste directly from ISO 13849 of the entire section 13.1 and 0.2, describing how to write an IfU. And we'll call it a custom document type. So we'll create this deliverable and just log it to the backend. So we can close this now, and we can click into here and click edit, and we'll be able to do something pretty cool. So we can click over to generate full document. We can leave it in full file passage mode, and we should have a document that shows up here. So I think to do this, we have to refresh. And once we refresh, we'll see the ESTOP spec that we provided right here. I'll pause for a second while I reload. And it's back. So we click edit. Now we click generate full document, and we can select this one. And let's click generate document. This will take a few minutes, so I'm going to leave it running. And what it's doing in the background is it's figuring out from that description all the details of exactly what needs to be templated into this document and all the details that are available in that particular specification. So the cool thing is you can use this on an existing template you have. You could paste that in here. For example, if you have a template for a DFMEA or for example, a risk assessment, a variety of your different EHS documentation. And so that's a lot of how we set this up if you end up working with us here at Saphira. And then it's going to come up with all the questions to answer everything that's missing. So that's what we'll see in just a minute. So I'll pause while it finishes, and we'll take a look at that together. All right, and here we have it. So this is a little bit funky to read on this page, but you can see on the left the templated documents. So we have document control up at the top, the machine system, the SRPCS, the document ID, all the details that need to be populated. And on the right, you have 66 questions that have to be answered that we couldn't figure out the details from the document on. So we have a bunch of stuff that was inferred, like the intended target group and responsibilities directly from the section 1349. We have the safety function overview that was derived from that document we provided. So the safe state S0, when the ESOP is initiated, what the function is, the lifecycle coverage. So a lot of this is either default or it's inferred from the document. It's not really all that complex. There aren't that many different things you need to consider. This is where stuff starts getting complex. So there's no information in that specification I provided about environmental limits, operating limits, etc. So all of those are left templated, and they show up now in these documents. So you get really directed questions like, what is the exact system machine name? We get back down to these ones like, what are the environmental assumptions of the ESOP SRPCS, like EMI immunity, temperature range, etc. And the cool thing is, if you provide more documents, if you upload those back there, when you come back to this one, you can click this lightning bolt on the right and select which one you want to populate it from, and it'll auto read that in. So this is super comprehensive. You get this beautiful document. We can use this to assess the gaps for and fill in any sort of compliance document. Really excited to use this with all of you.